Let the dollar circulate. Let the dollar circulate. Lady, 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 circulate, circulate, circulate. Let the dollar circulate. Let the dollar circulate.
What's up? You're watching IsisNFriends. We're going live on Facebook with Miss LaToya
Conway
Hampton. And we're talking about domestic violence, which I have been through. I haven't told everyone yet, but I have some story time at home that I'm editing right now. And God saw that it was time. So I got to meet Miss LaToya at Joann Fabrics with my mom. And guess what God did? He gave me the #1 best-selling author on Amazon. Her book is called Now I Know, The Hidden Victim. And so we're just going to edit it. This is no editing, so I'm just thinking editing, but we're live. So first, I'm going to interview Miss LaToya, and then she's going to interview me. And I figured it would be nice if I can have my calm and collect right now while I interview her, and then I'll just be me without the host, right? Okay, so here we go. Domestic violence survivor.
Yes.
Can you tell them a little bit about yourself, please?
So I am LaToya Conway Hampton, and those of you that know me, thank you so much for following me. I really, really appreciate you and all of the love and support that you give. But I'm a survivor of domestic violence and sexual assault, and I've spent the last soon-to-be 21 years encouraging, educating, empowering other families to get out and get safe.
It's amazing. Let's see. So right now we're at Two Lifestyles. This is Miss LaToya's, the birth of her idea to help other people. Could you tell us what happens here? I see graduates on the wall. I know there's classes. Could you tell us about the classes and the graduation process?
So we do provide services. We provide parenting for mothers on mothers only, excuse me. And the mothers that we support are held Monday night parenting classes, and it's baby steps. We have to take baby steps to parents without abuse, especially once you've been through it. It becomes a part of who you are, and then your children experience what you've gone through. And then on Tuesday nights we have WBI, which is Women Batterers Intervention, because after being a victim, you become the batterer if you don't get any help. So you go from being very, very passive, and then you go to being very aggressive, because like, now I'm not going to let you do that to me. So now you're on the other end of the spectrum. And if you consistently work on yourself, then you become in the middle where that harmony is, where you can live a healthy life. But it takes maintenance and it takes practice. Then we have sexual assault awareness, because sometimes mothers miss that. Sometimes we're looking for some of the things that maybe we've gone through, and so as we're looking for sexual assault, sometimes we overlook some things that's right in front of our face. And then on Friday we have our youth program. Now, you know, they are completely amazing. There are so many young girls in the Antelope Valley that has experienced sexual assault and domestic violence and are just a hidden victim of it, and we want to empower them, encourage them, and teach them so they don't have to experience that again. And then Friday, our domestic violence program is held on Saturday. It's a women empowerment program. We talk about the woman from the top of her head to the bottom of her feet, to empower her, teach her boundaries, self-esteem, self-worth, and things of the sort. And that's pretty much who we are. So once a woman attend our program, and they've been here for about 6 to 9 months, it really depends on the particular woman and her needs, then I have a graduation process. Now, until I graduated drug treatment, I had never graduated anything. And so we provide this process, cap and gown, the entire ceremony, family. We have a lifesaver process, and that is a launching pad for healing for the women and encouragement. And those are our services in a nutshell.
That's beautiful. You also have testing here, drug testing here.
We do.
What is that about?
So every service that's held here at Two Lifestyles are some services that I needed. And I want to make this place a one-stop shop. So when mothers and fathers are trying to regain custody of their children, and substance abuse may be a thought of the worker or it may be a reality for the parent, then we want to help provide and help support them proving their innocence. Because sometimes you get accused of something that you're not doing. And it happens a lot. You heard Ruben yesterday talk about what was going on. And so the drug testing that we provide is for families that are working with the Department of Children and Family Services. And we're the Palmdale site. There is a Lancaster site, but we're the Palmdale site. And also we have another service that we provide for nurses, doctors, attorneys, probation officers, pharmacists, if they're on probation because maybe the board maybe thought they was using drugs and alcohol. Again, we're here to help them prove their innocence and support them through their recovery.
That's beautiful.
Hi, Adrian. Thanks for watching.
Hi, guys. What is the hidden victim? What is that? Just someone that doesn't tell? Is that a hidden victim? And then the kids could be hidden victims. Could you?
The interpretation of the hidden victim when I think about my book is my mother was being abused at that time, and a lot of times you think that the victim is just a person that's being abused, but I was a child of an abused person, so that made me the hidden victim because I was also being abused in other areas. I was mentally being abused, watching my mother get abused. It changes your psyche. Secondly, I was being sexually assaulted by my stepfather and a host of others, and so financially abused because he was controlling the money. Yeah, so those are the hidden victim is our children who watch this stuff.
Okay, I was a hidden victim too because my mother was abused, and I watched that, and then my mother was abusing me.
Right.
Physically and mentally.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Yesterday you were wearing turquoise. Could you tell us about that?
So the front of my book, the colors I chose for the theme of my book is black and teal. I wore a black dress and the teal colors, and the purpose of that was because the teal stands for and represents sexual assault. And that's my life, you guys. I experienced so much of sexual assault. Some people often wonder, how do you even want to be involved in a relationship with a person that's intimate because you have so much trauma in that area. And that represents who I am. I chose the black background because my childhood was very dark. I was the hidden victim. And the beautiful smile is because I get the opportunity to live my second lifestyle and live a whole well-rounded life. And I think today, I'm grateful for all those experiences. I don't like what I went through, but I'm grateful for them because I knew God knew that I would share this. Some of you have experienced this stuff and won't talk about it, and that's okay. I'm not talking about it for you to feel bad for me or poor LaToya or even good job, look at her go. I'm talking because that sense of awareness needs to happen in the world. We need to stop making this silence, break the silence, have these conversations so people can be healed.
Oh, yeah, that's what's up. I got this question just keeps trying to pop out, and I wanted to save it to the end, but let's get it out of my mind.
Okay.
Let's say you know someone that their child may be going through sexual assault type of thing. My mother raised me like she would bring me home, and my mother taught me about sex education when I was just a little kid. I was like 5. I knew what was going on. I didn't want to know, but now as an adult, I know my mother did the best she could do. And so, like, let's say you know someone and you think there may be something going on with the child. How would you approach that? Would you approach it? Do you just pray about it or not say anything? Because my mother would raise us like this. She'd say, anybody touch you today? Anybody do this to you today? I mean, my mother was so hands-on. I said, just you. Oh my goodness, you know. But what would you say? You know, do you stand back if you notice a child that you've been around is acting differently, and those are red flags for you? Do you say anything to the parent? Do you say anything to the child? What do you do?
So you're talking, it's twofold because you're talking to a woman with a child welfare background. So my first thought would be, try to figure out what's going on, but more importantly, maybe call into the hotline. Because anytime a child is being abused or there is suspicion, let them figure it out. I know it feels like, oh, I don't want to make a decision that a child can be removed or something can happen, but I have to be real honest. I had child welfare in my life when I was a kid, and my mother was able to go right through that. And I was never detained. They didn't come long. And the reason why I remember they came because I remember smelling the pine saw, the house all clean. I remember that part. But there was so much going on in my home. I wish they would have came and removed me. I really do. And so even when my kids got removed, I used to think like, oh my God, who could do such a thing? But now that I'm on the other side, 21 years later, it was a life-saving event. It was life-saving. So if you see a child and you suspect something's going on, then of course you want to maybe try to have a conversation with that child and make sure that they're okay. But then get the appropriate people involved that are court-ordered, responsible, and willing to go in and advocate for that kid.
So how would you do that? What would you do? You call who? Who do you call?
So you would call Department of Children and Family Services, and that's a 1-800-840 54,000, or look up child welfare. And I know it's a hard conversation to have, but for a child like me who experienced so much sexual assault and so much sexual abuse, I really, really, really wished that when they came in, when I got a whooping, because I got a whooping with extension cord because I was doing something I had no business. And I know my mother did the best that she could, but when they came out, things looked different in the home. So they didn't detain me. Not to mention, child welfare practices and policies started in 1971. So they was just getting involved anyway. They was just learning, what it is they need to do. Not to mention, they had animal rights way before they had rights for human. That's a whole nother topic.
Wow.
So, with that being said, I think that you need to have conversation with adults and make sure that that child is okay, because you have no clue what that baby going through. And you want to be the adult or the young person or the teacher or the facilitator or whoever that can get that kid out of that crisis mode. Because I'm going to tell you, I spent a lot of years screwed up. And then sometime when I'm in my head, I still feel that screwed upness is in there. I just learned how to deal with it and found another area to cope.